You might want to sit down for this one, because what I'm about to show you is the reason your plants are secretly dying even when you think you are doing everything right. And no, it's not about expensive fertilizer, it's not about buying rare seeds, and it's definitely not about spending more time in the garden. It's something far more dangerous, something most gardeners do every single day without even realizing it. It might not be your soil, it might not be your seeds, and it might not even be the weather. It could be 7 silent gardening mistakes you are making right now. Mistakes that are quietly killing your plants while you keep thinking you are taking care of them. And in today's video on Gardens Heaven, I'm going to expose all 7 of them in a way that will completely change how you see your garden forever. So if you love seeing your plants grow fast, healthy, and almost like they are coming alive in your hands, make sure you don't skip this video. And while you're here, do me a quick favor. If you are a returning member of Gardens Heaven, you already know we don't do boring gardening tips here. We go straight to what actually works. And if you are new here, welcome to the family. You are now part of a place where we grow food smarter, not harder, without breaking the bank. Now before we jump into these 7 deadly gardening mistakes, tap that like button right now, because it helps more gardeners like you find this video before they lose another plant for no reason. And hit subscribe, because what I'm about to share in this channel can literally save you months of failed gardening experiments. Alright, let's not waste any more time, because the first mistake is one of the most common, and it's probably happening in your garden right now without you even noticing. Mistake 1. Overwatering your plants like they are drowning for love. Let me start with the most silent plant killer in almost every garden: overwatering. And I know what you are thinking right now, but water is life, so more water should mean more growth, right? That is exactly where most gardeners get it wrong, because in reality too much water doesn't feed your plant, it suffocates it. Your soil becomes like a soaked sponge that refuses to breathe, and the roots that are supposed to be working hard start slowing down, then eventually begin to rot without you noticing. Here is what makes it even more dangerous. Overwatering does not kill your plants immediately. It is slow, sneaky, and very deceptive. At first everything looks fine. Leaves are green, stems look strong, and you feel like you are doing a great job. But underground, something different is happening. The roots are sitting in water for too long. Oxygen is disappearing from the soil, and the plant is basically struggling to breathe in silence. By the time the leaves start turning yellow or soft, the damage is already halfway done. Now let's talk about a crop most people struggle with but don't even realize why. Sweet potato vines. They love moisture, yes, but they absolutely hate sitting in waterlogged soil. The same goes for moringa seedlings. People think because they are fast growing, they need constant watering. No, they need balance. A slightly moist soil that dries out just enough between watering sessions is what keeps their roots active and strong. Even something like African basil will start dropping leaves when you treat it like a rice plant instead of a herb. So what should you do instead? Simple rule: don't water on a schedule, water based on soil mood. Stick your finger into the soil about 2 inches deep. If it feels dry, then water. If it still feels slightly moist, leave it alone. And here's a little trick experienced gardeners use. Plants actually grow stronger when they are allowed to search for water a little bit. It forces the roots to grow deeper instead of staying weak and shallow. So the next time you feel like watering your plants just because it's morning again, pause and ask yourself if your plant actually needs it. Mistake 2. Using blind soil that looks good but is actually dead. Now this is one mistake that fools almost everybody, especially beginners who are excited to start planting quickly. You see a nice dark soil, maybe from a nearby field or even bought cheaply, and you think, yes, this is perfect. But what you don't realize is that not all soil that looks rich is actually alive. Some soils are what I call blind soil. They look fine on the outside, but have no real nutrients or microbial life to support strong plant growth. Let's just do miss blind soil dangerous. Plants don't just eat fertilizer alone. They depend heavily on living organisms in the soil. These tiny organisms break down nutrients and make them available to the roots. When your soil is dead or exhausted, even if you keep adding fertilizer, the plant still struggles. It's like feeding someone food but their body can't digest it properly. That is exactly what is happening under your garden without you seeing it. Let's bring it closer to home. Take dragon fruit cuttings for example. Many people plant them in dry, compact soil and wonder why they refuse to grow. Or African basil that looks weak and stunted even after weeks. The problem is not always the plant itself, but the fact that the soil cannot support root expansion or nutrient activity. Even sweet potato vines will just sit there looking confused instead of spreading if the soil is lifeless or too compacted. So what should you do instead? Before planting anything, always wake up your soil. Mix in simple organic matter like dry leaves, kitchen compost, or even well-rotted manure if you can get it. Break the soil gently so air can move inside. Think of it like giving the soil oxygen and food at the same time. When soil is alive, plants don't struggle to grow, they just grow naturally without you forcing it. Mistake 3. Giving your plants the wrong kind of sunlight. Now this one is tricky because almost every gardener believes they are doing it right. You hear plants need sunlight, so you place everything under the sun and think you've solved the problem. But here is the truth most people don't talk about. Not all sunlight is equal, and not all plants want the same level of heat. Some plants are literally being slowly burned while you are proudly calling it good care. Let's break it down. Sunlight is not just on or off. There is gentle morning sun, harsh midday sun, and stressful afternoon heat. When you expose tender plants like African basil or young moringa seedlings to intense midday sun all day, what you are really doing is forcing them into survival mode. Instead of growing, they start protecting themselves. Leaves curl, growth slows down, and in some cases they even look like they are stuck for weeks. Now think about something like sweet potato vines again. They love sunlight, yes, but even they prefer a balance. When the sun is too harsh without enough shade or moisture support, their leaves start looking tired and dry at the edges. And dragon fruit cuttings, these are even more sensitive at early stages. Too much direct heat can literally dry out the cutting before roots even form properly. So instead of growth you get failure and frustration. Learn to read the sun, not just follow it blindly. Most plants actually perform better with morning sunlight and light afternoon shade, especially in hot climates. If you don't have shade naturally, you can create simple protection using palm fronds, light netting, or even placing taller plants strategically to shield smaller ones. The goal is not to block sunlight completely, but to control intensity, because when sunlight is balanced, plants don't just survive, they explode with healthy growth without stress. Mistake 4. Crowding your plants like they are competing for attention. This is one mistake that looks harmless at first, but it quietly destroys your entire garden from the inside out. A lot of gardeners believe that the more plants you squeeze into a small space, the bigger the harvest will be. It feels logical. More plants, more food. But in reality, what you are creating is not a garden, it's a silent competition arena where every plant is fighting for light, air, and nutrients. Here is what actually happens when you overcrowd. First, air circulation becomes weak. And when air cannot move properly between leaves, moisture stays trapped. That trapped moisture becomes the perfect environment for fungal problems and weak growth. Then sunlight starts getting blocked because taller or faster growing plants begin to shade the smaller ones. So instead of everyone growing together, only a few dominant plants survive, while the rest slowly fade. Let's bring this into real crops people love growing. Sweet potato vines are a perfect example. When they are planted too close, they start twisting over each other, and instead of spreading nicely, they form a tangled mess that weakens the whole bed. African basil also suffers badly when crowded. You'll notice smaller leaves, weak scent, and slower growth because each plant is starving for space. Even moringa seedlings, which are known for being strong, will grow thin and stretched like they are struggling to find air when they are packed too tightly. So what should you do instead? Give your plants breathing space like you would give people in a crowded room. Space is not wasted land. It is hidden growth potential. When plants have room, their roots expand freely. Their leaves catch proper sunlight, and air flows naturally around them. Even if your garden is small, it is better to grow fewer healthy plants than many weak ones. Because at the end of the day, space is not the enemy of yield. Poor spacing is. Now pause for a second, because if you are watching this and you've already noticed at least one mistake you've been making in your own garden, I need you to do something important right now. Drop a comment and tell me honestly, which of these mistakes do you think has been affecting your plants the most? Is it overwatering? Is it bad soil? Or maybe you've been crowding your plants without realizing it. I want to know because this is where real gardeners learn from each other, not just from me. And while you're at it, don't just watch this video like entertainment. Treat it like a correction manual for your garden. Because what I'm sharing here is the difference between plants that struggle and plants that actually thrive. Now if you are enjoying this so far, tap the like button. Not just for me, but so this video can reach other gardeners who are unknowingly killing their plants right now, and don't even realize it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, this is your moment, because what comes next is where things get even more interesting. The next mistakes are not as obvious as the ones we've talked about so far. In fact, one of them looks like good gardening practice, but it is secretly slowing down your plant growth. So make sure you stay with me till the end. Alright, let's continue. Mistake 5. Feeding your plants too much love with wrong fertilizer timing. Now this is where many gardeners unknowingly turn their plants from healthy green machines into stressed, confused survivors. Because fertilizing your plants is good, but timing and balance is everything. A lot of people think the more fertilizer you add, the faster your plants will grow, so they keep pouring nutrients like they are trying to force growth. But plants don't grow faster under pressure, they grow better under rhythm. Here is what actually happens when you overdo fertilizer or apply it at the wrong time. The plant gets overwhelmed. Instead of focusing on root development or steady leaf growth, it suddenly gets a flood of nutrients it cannot properly use. This leads to what we call false growth, where leaves may look big and green for a short time, but the plant becomes weak underneath. Later on it starts to collapse because it never built a strong foundation. Let's talk about real examples. African basil is very sensitive to this. If you overload it with fertilizer too early, it may grow fast at first but lose its strong aroma and become soft and weak. Sweet potato vines can also react badly by producing too much leaf growth but poor root tuber development. And moringa seedlings, they don't like pressure. Too much feeding too early can make them grow tall but fragile, like they are rushing life instead of building strength. So what should you do instead? Think of feeding your plants like training an athlete, not stuffing food into a machine. Start small. Allow the plant to establish itself first before introducing strong feeding. Organic compost, diluted manure, or slow-release natural nutrients work best because they release food gradually. And always remember this simple rule: if your plant is already struggling, fertilizer is not the first answer, balance is. Healthy soil plus steady feeding will always beat aggressive feeding every single time. Mistake 6. Ignoring early warning signs your plants are giving you. This is one of the most painful mistakes because your plants are actually trying to talk to you, but most gardeners don't know how to listen. Plants don't just suddenly die. They usually send signals days or even weeks before things go wrong. The problem is people only react when it is already too late. Let's break it down simply. When a plant is unhappy, it shows it in its leaves, stems, and growth pattern. Yellowing leaves are not random. Wilting is not always about lack of water. Slow growth is not just bad seed. These are warning signs. But instead of investigating, many gardeners just add more water, more fertilizer, or move the plant around, which often makes things worse. Take moringa seedlings for example. If the leaves start looking pale and weak, it could be telling you the soil is poor, or the roots are stressed. But many people assume it just needs more watering, and they drown it even more. Or African basil. When it starts losing its strong smell and leaves begin to droop slightly, it is often a sign of stress, not just hot weather. Sweet potato vines also give signals early. When the leaves start shrinking or losing their bold green color, something underground is not right. So what should you do instead? Slow down and observe before you react. Look at the pattern, not just the problem. Ask yourself, is it overwatering, poor soil, too much sun, or lack of space? Healthy gardening is not about doing more, it is about noticing better. The best gardeners are not the ones who act the fastest, but the ones who understand what their plants are trying to say before things go bad. Mistake 7. Pruning and cleaning your plants at the wrong time. Now this final mistake is one of those things that looks like good gardening, but quietly delays your entire harvest. A lot of gardeners love a clean garden. No dry leaves, no messy stems, everything looking sharp and tidy. But in trying to make things look perfect, they end up removing what the plant actually needs to grow stronger. Here is the truth most people don't realize. Those yellowing or slightly old leaves are not always useless. Sometimes they are still feeding the plant through stored energy while the roots are adjusting underground. When you rush in and cut them too early, you are basically removing the plant's backup system, and the plant now has to struggle harder just to recover from your cleaning. Let's talk real crops again. African basil is very sensitive here. If you keep trimming too aggressively or removing leaves too often, it loses its ability to build strong scent and full growth. It starts becoming thin and weak instead of bushy and rich. Sweet potato vines also suffer when constantly cut or disturbed too early. Instead of spreading and strengthening, they keep restarting growth cycles and never fully mature. Even moringa seedlings, when pruned too early, can become stunted instead of developing strong branches. So what should you do instead? Prune with purpose, not emotion. Only remove leaves or stems that are clearly dead, diseased, or completely blocking healthy growth. And always give your plant time to establish itself before you start any serious trimming. Think of pruning like surgery, not cleaning. It should be done with timing, not impatience. When you allow plants to grow into their natural rhythm, they actually become fuller, stronger, and far more productive than when you constantly interfere. Because in gardening, sometimes the best action is knowing when not to act. And just like that, these are the 7 gardening mistakes quietly killing your plants without you even realizing it. Now, if you made it all the way to the end, you should be looking at your garden a little differently right now. Not with fear, but with understanding. Because once you start noticing these mistakes, everything changes. Your plants stop mysteriously dying, and you start seeing real patterns, real growth, and real results. Remember this: gardening is not about doing more things. It is about doing the right things at the right time. Watering with intention, feeding with balance, giving space, reading your soil, and most importantly, learning to observe before reacting. And here is what I want you to do next. Go back to your garden today or tomorrow, and quietly check just one thing. Don't change everything at once, just observe. Look at your watering habit, your spacing, your soil, or even how your plants are reacting to sunlight. You will be surprised how many problems you can already start fixing just by noticing. Now, if this video opened your eyes even a little bit, make sure you don't leave without subscribing to Gardens Heaven, because this is where we don't just talk about gardening, we break it down in a way that actually helps you grow food without wasting money or time. Drop a comment before you go and tell me this. Which of these mistakes shocked you the most? And if you want, I can also help you next with a video on fast-growing high-value crops you can start in small spaces that people are not talking about yet. Just say the word. Like this video if it helped you, share it with another gardener who needs it, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay consistent and let your garden speak for you.